Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. On today's show, Kyle Bauer visits with Ken Woods about Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Then enjoy this week's Kansas Soybean update. Duane Toews and Harold Newcomb from Merck Animal Health will visit about the importance of controlling parasites. Then it's this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update, and we'll end with some plain talk from Kyle and Duane. Stay with us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Up first today, Kyle Bauer and Ken Woods talk about Kansas Regenerative Medicine and their services.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer. I get an opportunity to visit with Ken Woods. He's one of the founders of Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Ken, it's a unique story. Tell us how you came to found Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center.
Well, it is a strange story. We, business partner and I, we were just two patients. I had bad knees, he had bad knees and elbows, and we met a veterinarian that was doing stem cell therapy in horses and dogs. And we asked him, why don't they do this in people? He said, well, they do, but you got to go to Beverly Hills, California to get it done. We made the trek to Beverly Hills, was treated, came back, went right back to work, and it was just 3 months, 6 months later, we just were amazed by the results. And we knew that none of our friends would go to Beverly Hills, California to get this done, and we just felt like, the farmers and ranchers, especially in the state of Kansas, needed something like this. So crazy enough, we found some physicians that were forward thinking enough to try something new, and we started 4.5 years ago, and we have a location in Manhattan. We just opened a location in Overland Park the last year, and so just continues to grow, and we continue to help people.
Well, talking about helping people, what sort of things can you help people with the stem cell therapy?
So the main things that we treat is osteoarthritis. So if you have arthritis in your knees, hips, shoulders, that is probably the biggest thing that we treat. There's a lot of other things that we do treat. We treat some autoimmune diseases, but mainly it's osteoarthritis. Mainly it's joint pain, backs. We treat more backs than anybody in the country, and we've still have the same success rate. I think our backs are still 80 to 85% successful, just like our knees and hips.
Now, you mentioned 80 to 85% successful. There isn't a guarantee, and most people will see results, but not everyone does.
Yeah, and that's something we really try to get across to the patients. We don't want someone coming in with knowing that we're going to heal them. We can't make those guarantees. We see that it works most of the time, but our doctors will turn away a third of the patients because they don't think they can help them. If it's too far gone, our physicians, they don't want to treat them.
Technically, it's still considered experimental.
Correct. It's something that's been done overseas for 15 years, 20 years, but in the U.S., they still consider it an experimental procedure. Because they can't quantify why the stem cells are doing what they're doing. And so until they can get $1 billion to get that through the FDA, they're going to consider it experimental.
And being experimental, it's not covered by insurance.
It's cash only. And the one thing I saw when I was treated was, it cost $8,900. It was a lot of money, but I had 5 knee surgeries myself. Every time I paid that deductible of $2,000 to $3,000 and had average results, this has been the best money I spent on any surgery that I've had.
Visiting with Ken Woods, he is president of Kansas Regenerative Medicine. This is Kyle Bauer reporting. Back to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Kyle. Folks, come back after these messages for this week's Kansas Soybean update.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply. Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about employee safety and work comp coverage. On your farm, do you ask your friends to come help? Are they considered employees or neighbors helping neighbors? Did you know that you can be held responsible just as if it's a work comp accident? Give me a call. We can discuss. 316-945-6733.
This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kevin Hirschner, Senior Vice President with Victory Renewables, is joining us. And Kevin, Victory Renewables just celebrated the opening of their new biodiesel blending facility in Garden City, Kansas.
So this facility is going to bring biodiesel into the local market in southwest Kansas to support local diesel users being able to bring biodiesel in to their diesel supply. We'll be able to offer blends of anything from neat biodiesel to blended diesel and biodiesel products, so B5 to B20 blends with diesel fuel, and one-stop shop. Come in, get filled up, or we can also offer deliver services with our merchandising team.
When it gets to full capacity, how much biodiesel will this facility be able to do?
Well, we're scaled now that we think we could easily support 300 to 500,000 gallons a month. We're going to need to do some work on the marketing side to develop that demand, but we're certainly planning for where we want to be, not where we are right now. So we're excited to get out and prove our value proposition to local customers in the market and show them what we can do.
Kevin, how did Victory Renewables work with the Kansas Soybean Commission to help make this facility a reality?
So the Kansas Soybean Commission has been very supportive of us, provided funding for us to put these facilities into place. It's been a good partnership. We located the asset and the location to where we thought we had an easily addressable market and a place that would work well from a supply perspective for bringing in soybean-based biodiesel, and also on a demand perspective. You know, the Kansas diesel pool is very well sized, and, you know, the amount of demand around harvest season is something we really look to take advantage of and take those traditional diesel customers and show them the benefits of biodiesel. And it's very well timed with additional production capacity coming online in the state of Kansas for soybean-based biodiesel as well.
And you just mentioned so many of the benefits for that Kansas soybean producer, but this is really very much a benefit to the Kansas economy.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's a good story circularly that everybody's using fuel. I mean, there's fuel being burned to get those beans out of the field and other products, and also just, you know, local transportation runs. We're going to be able to support that with competitive product that's cleaner, more efficient to compete for that diesel demand. And like you said, very, very, very supportive of the crop that's being grown, finding new demand for soybean oil and supporting crush economics in the process.
Kevin, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Greg. Have a great day.
That's Kevin Hirschner, Senior Vice President with Victory Renewables, who joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Hope you enjoyed this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Stay with us after the break for more with Duane Toews and Harold Newcomb.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Imagine turning soybean oil, used cooking oils, and waste animal fats into fuel so amazing it drives U.S. jobs and our economy forward. Learn more about biodiesel at americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now we learn about parasite control with Duane Toews and Harold Newcomb.
Duane Toews joining you once again here on Ag AM in Kansas, and an opportunity to catch up with Dr. Harold Newcomb with Merck Animal Health. And Dr. Newcomb, we think about opportunities in the cattle industry to alleviate some of those hidden robbers of profitability. When we think about parasite control, that's a great place to start, and from Merck's perspective.
You bet. I mean, if we think about what parasites actually do to animals, we actually know that we have to control parasites to make us profitable. If you think about parasites too, think about that they affect every segment of the cattle production system, whether you're a cow-calf guy, a stocker guy, or even a feedlot guy. Parasites are going to have an impact on your bottom line. So controlling them is a must. It's not an option.
We think about typically we see flies, for example. It's pretty readily available if the cattle aren't comfortable, if they're bunching up. And that's pretty easy to see and diagnose. But on the internal parasite side, it's a little more opaque for us to try and make some of those decisions and really understand when we're losing dollars.
Well, it is, because really most internal parasitism or GI parasitism is actually in the form of subclinical parasitism. In other words, the animals aren't really clinically ill from the parasites, but we're still seeing those production losses. The biggest thing that the parasite is doing to that animal is causing a reduction of feed intake. And when those animals don't eat, they don't perform. And those production losses can come in the form of decreased conception rates, decreased weaning weights, increased time for those cattle taken to finish. All those things can come in and cause production losses that we see.
Not only on those physical characteristics about those losses that we have, but organ meats and actual harvest losses are potential as well.
Yeah, the parasitized animal, the carcass weights will not be generally as high, and we can see lower not only yield grades but quality grades as well. So it's important that we actually go out and try and strategically control these parasites. You know, if you're a cow-calf guy, like right now, it's in the fall, you may have already dewormed your cattle and pregnancy checked and done all this, but because of the weather we've had, it's been conducive to parasite transmission. So if this was done, say, back in late August, September, maybe even earlier October, those animals have had a chance to go back out and probably reparasitize. So it's important that we go back and we check and make sure what we're doing has actually worked and the animals do have a low parasite burden in them.
Now, you referenced being targeted in our approach. We hear some things about resistant parasites and things of that nature. Making sure that we get the job done is pretty important as well.
It is, and the way we do that is we recommend that the producers do a fecal egg count reduction test, okay? And that's where they take 20 samples 20 fecal samples the day they deworm, and then 20 more again in that same group 14 days later. What we're trying to do is see a 90% reduction or greater in that egg count. If we see that, we know we've had a successful deworming. If we hadn't, we probably need to go ask ourselves a few questions. Number one, did we deworm the animals correctly? In other words, did we put the product on or in the animal the way it was supposed to be? And then did we put the right amount on? Because, you know, if we're dosing on the average weight, we're overdosing half, but we're underdosing half as well. So it's not only important to make sure we're getting the right dose, but getting the right dose applied or in the animal as well.
Final thoughts from Merck Animal Health about parasites and control.
Well, parasite control is vital. It should be the cornerstone of every producer's animal health program. You need to make sure what you're doing is working, and you ought to be working with a veterinarian to make sure that your anthelmintic or deworming program is sustainable and working.
All right, thanks to Dr. Harold Newcomb with Merck Animal Health joining us on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
As fourth-generation farmers themselves, Heinen Brothers Ag Service understands the risk and rewards of farming. So when it comes to quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia, call Heinen Brothers Ag today, 800-760-4964.
About 6 jumps later, I was laying on the ground and thinking, boy, my shoulder sure hurt. I kept waiting, and it didn't get better and didn't get better. I'd heard about Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center on the radio. Got down there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 11:30, the procedure was all over, and it just kept getting better and better. And within 6 weeks, I was back digging post holes and doing the other hard work that I'd been doing before the accident. And I'm really pleased. It's really worked out well for me.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Farm Bureau update.
Kansas Farm Bureau is celebrating 100 years by going on tour across Kansas, and we want our members to join in. On Monday, July 29th, we will tour Juniper Hills Farms, a first-generation farm with more than 150 acres of USDA-certified organic land, along with 400 acres of conventional farmland in Douglas County. Then we will have lunch at Dale Banks Angus Ranch, a fifth-generation ranch in Greenwood County. After lunch, we will head to learn about an innovative Ag in the Classroom program at Bluestem Elementary in Butler County, followed by an evening meal at Abilene Farms in Sedgwick County. On Tuesday, July 30th, our day will start with a tour of Cargill's new protein headquarters in Wichita. Members can tour the Stafford County Flour Mill and Water Tech Farm in Pawnee County. Finally, on Wednesday, July 31st, we will head west to tour New Life, a sorghum processing facility in Scott County. Then make our way north to see research in action at the K-State Northwest Kansas Research Center in Colby. We will end our tour with an evening meal at the Prairie Museum in Thomas County. Space is limited and members are responsible for their own transportation. Meals are $10. To register, visit www.kfb.org.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
Hey folks, welcome. I'm here with Holly Martin of the High Plains Journal, and she has some exciting news to share.
Yeah, we're having Cattle U here in Dodge City on July 31st and August 1st.
It's going to be a great event, and I am so thankful that you would bring it here to Dodge City in Kansas.
Yeah, it's the heart of cattle country. We were going to have a great speaker lineup, just as you know, you're going to be a part of it.
Well, I looked at the speaker lineup, and I was just blown away. It's going to be something there for everyone.
Absolutely. We hope that people come and spend 2 days with us learning.
And it's not just for feedlot operators.
No. Cow-calf producers, stockers, there's a little something for everybody.
Yeah, and you're going to have a trade show with it?
Yeah, trade show, great information to be able to learn in the educational sessions and then go outside and be able to find partners to work with.
Come network with a bunch of cattle producers here in Dodge City. We're all going to be here, and it's going to be a great time. Thank you so much, Holly.
Thank you.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer and work with you.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Welcome back. Now let's see what Kyle and Duane are up to on Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk, with a guy that understands that it's hard to keep a secret around a campfire after a hearty meal of pinto whistleberries. Duane Toews.
That would be an absolute truth,
Pinto
right there.
whistleberries.
Old eating some whistleberries around the campfire. I don't think I've heard that expression in 30 years.
I think it's been longer ago than that for me.
Yeah.
So, I have 6 grandsons, 8 grandchildren. One of the grandsons isn't quite old enough to understand everything yet, but I had to cook dinner here, 6 weeks, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And I cooked beanie weenies.
There you go.
And, I think those poor kids, some of them are as old as 7 years old, they've never had beanie weenies.
Interestingly enough, I'm surprised you bring that up. I have a daughter that's 20. That's one of her favorite meals yet to this day.
It's one of my favorite meals, too. And you can't put too many weenies in it. I mean, you can just
load her up.
And if you want to crumble some hamburger in there, too, it makes it even better. And it's like, poor kids.
They've been deprived.
They've been deprived.
And how expensive is a package of hot dogs and a can of pork and beans?
That's it.
Obviously, their parents have too much money.
I fed the whole crew for $2. And it was cheap hot dogs, too, by the way.
Speaking of food, your fact or fiction question of the day. The restaurant Gaut du Noir.
Easy for you to say.
Gaut du Noir in Paris, France. It's not necessarily an issue of how the presentation goes. You're served in the dark. Fact or fiction?
Well, that would be odd, extremely odd. I've got to go with fiction.
It's true.
It's true.
In the dark.
I'm thinking a lot of restaurants could pass inspection in the dark.
You never know what they're sliding
the
by
good.
you.
It's just the ambiance not so good. So shut the lights off.
Shut the lights off.
I know
a few people that won't eat things because how it looks, and they won't even give it a chance by tasting it.
There you go.
They
taste with their eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I will bet you 30% of the population tastes with their eyes.
We have some members of our family that they call it mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm, right.
Seems like it's kind of a weird way of describing it.
We've talked about this before. You have a tremendous fixation with mouthfeel. I mean, you won't eat plums. You won't eat canned plums. You won't eat canned plums because of the sliminess.
Chose that I haven't purchased them. I only ate them in primary grade school.
Because?
They were soft and mushy. But I ate them then.
I know, but you're saying they won't eat them
They
at
won't
all.
eat stuff at all because of mouthfeel.
I think mouthfeel is a very common way of tasting something. I'll be honest with you. You got the mouthfeel, you got the way it looks, the way it smells, and there's nothing left.
You got taste.
No, I don't think
it doesn't even matter.
That even
doesn't even get to that point.
It doesn't even get to that point. Because if you put it up to your nose after those other things and it goes wrong at your nose, it's all over right there.
She's not going in. I question that. I know you have been in an audience where you were not to look at the color of a candy and eat it, and they were all the same, although they were different colors.
Skittles.
I have a hard time believing that, but I remember as a kid, they always told the kids in class if they couldn't eat their spinach to hold their nose while they did it. I'm telling you, it was just as slimy and unappetizing with your nose open or closed.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor.
captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.